And we're recording. All right. So Bennett, good morning to you. And I
More.
want to doc I want to document what this rebound has actually been like and not just how you look today. And a lot of people believe that once the diet ends, they either stay restricted forever or lose control completely. And I want you to explain what you were afraid of or what has really happened and what have you learned since this rebound.
Yeah, so like right after the show, it's kind of tough because I didn't even know what was next. Because for months I had in my mind had this show date, so I was kind of just concerned about like how I was gonna if I was gonna lose control, if I was gonna stay too constrictive, because I didn't really know like what was next after the show. So I guess my biggest concern was losing control, um,
Okay.
especially coming out of the show with the hunger I had. Yeah, definitely the
Yeah.
biggest concern was just not knowing what to do with the hunger and losing control. So that's my biggest concern after the show.
Okay. So, in the Israel's thing, what was the hardest part during the first few weeks?
The definitely staying on plan because like again the hunger after the show, like people talk about it, but I never really understood it until I actually competed and put myself through a prep.
Yes.
Um and it was just hard to stick to a plan after a show because like it was easy to stay on a plan when I was prepping for a show because in my mind I was prepping for a show. But then after the show's over and I didn't really have one I was planning to do next,
Yes.
it was kind of hard to stick to a diet plan, especially, with the appetite. But after the first couple weeks, I kind of settled in. It was became easier to deal with that hunger and the food noise. So yeah.
Okay. So, and you pretty much answered this next question. So, because it said, how did your hunger feel immediately after the show compared to it now? And of course, you said you probably felt like you could eat anything, any and everything.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was like it's kind of like I had an empty hole in my stomach. Everything I put in, it was just I was eating it, and I was still hungry after. But it definitely settled down after a couple weeks. My hunger is still great. Like I'm able to eat all my meals. It's not like I'm struggling to eat. But it's
Yeah.
definitely not as loud as it was right after the show, which helps stay on plan. Definitely quiet as the hunger has quieted down quite a bit since the show. So.
So, what happened emotionally when the scale started increasing?
Um, it was kind of messing with my head a little bit because like especially the first 2 3 weeks following the show, the scale was going like up and down and big jumps because the water retention right after the show was
Yes.
definitely a big thing. But sorry, what was that question again?
I
I
will
for-
say what happened emotionally when the scale started increasing, because I know we've had our conversations about that. Be going up, going down, may stay the same, and
yeah,
that was
yeah,
part of the process.
yeah. It's hard not to not. It was hard for like me mentally a little bit at the beginning
Yeah,
because I was watching it go up, in pretty big jumps from day to day. But
yes,
it wasn't that hard on me emotionally because part of me like wanted to gain the weight back. Obviously
yeah,
not as fast as I did in the beginning, but it was definitely difficult a little bit seeing because like I think the night after the show, a couple days after, I was up like 10 pounds immediately, and I never really lost that weight.
yeah,
But I think that was kind of a good thing because my body was so depleted that it jumped up, and when it finally got what it was needing. But emotionally, yeah, like it was difficult in the beginning, but it really hasn't been that big of a deal for me seeing the scale jump up. It has been a little bit when it's been like I'll do the same thing that I did the day before and it'll jump up, 1, 2
yeah,
pounds. That's a little more difficult emotionally because it's
yeah,
like, I did everything right. I was following the plan, s-
exactly.
following everything else like with the water and training. So that's when it gets a little bit more difficult for me. But it hasn't been too bad on me emotionally.
Okay. So what has surprised you most about this process? And we're in this process we're talking about is what I call it the Marion Trainer system, Marion Trainer Rebound and Beyond. So what surprised you most about this process? Because you and I are getting to know each other, and we've been working together since February.
Yeah, what surprised me most was just how well a rebound actually works when you follow the plan and just do what you're supposed to do with the rebound plan. Especially because before I ever competed, everyone was always saying I was always hearing stuff about how the post show rebound was, more difficult than the prep itself, and I never understood that until I actually went through it.
Yeah.
Um, and because I thought kind of like after the show, like I wouldn't be like as not that I'm like not strict, but I thought I would not be like following a plan as I am now. But once I like realized that the rebound plan is in place for a reason because it works, that was a lot easier for
Yeah.
me because it's just like there's peace in following the plan, and
Yes.
I've seen the results follow. Like just recently, I've been around that 200-pound mark, and the last time I was around this mark, I just my body looked completely different, and I also felt
Yes.
completely different. So it's just kind of it's cool to see how the body can have two completely different like looks and feeling to it at the
It
same
could be the
body weight.
same weight. Yeah.
That's just because, right? Yeah. So like I'm the same. I'm right around 200 pounds now, and the last time I was around 200 pounds about a year ago, my body composition was completely different. I was carrying more body fat. I
Yeah.
was still carrying a lot of muscle, but a lot of it was, under a little bit of fluff. And
Yeah.
this time it's more just lean, full muscle compared to just fluff from force feeding and just trying to see the scale move up. And I think that's what I can contribute that to is just following the plan and sticking to the plan. So.
So obviously, what has happened to your strength, your training performance, and recovery?
So those have been very big jumps, and I've seen real differences in all of those. So my strength has basically been a steady climb since right after the show, progressing pretty much week to week. And I'm really not even changing that much. We haven't really changed much in diet or nothing, but it's kind of just the body recovering.
Yeah.
The strength jumps, and recovery has been completely different compared to prep. I can actually fully recover from like my I can train hard and I can recover hard. And when I was in prep, I could train hard, but the recovery was um, a little less, definitely less than it was now. Um, but I have seen drastic improvements in recovery and strength and just overall performance
Okay.
with this
So
rebound. Like just today, oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead. It's just today. I mean,
I was
finish your
saying like
statement because
just today, yeah, like for example, last week, and I was like tracking my lifts. I had went up, I had the same amount of reps, but I added a whole plate onto this leg exercise, and that's how it's kind of been. Not like every week. I'm not going up like a plate every week, but the straight jumps have seriously been real post show after I have more food in me. The
yeah.
recovery is finally catching up. But performance I've 100% noticed is a lot better now.
Okay. And the other thing we have: how have your energy, digestion, sleep, and daily life changed since this rebound?
Pretty
And basically,
much
you could talk about.
everything is kind of just go ahead.
No, I was saying the basic, and I guess we could talk about the energy. Then we can go with the digestion, the sleep, and anything in your daily life that may have changed since you've been on the rebound.
Yeah, honestly I would just describe it as kind of like almost like returning to a normal, um because those all three of those things can get pretty messed up during a prep.
Okay.
So like about like 2.5 months post show I think now. And all of those things have just kind of slowly gotten better and better over the rebound phase. My
Okay.
energy from like day to day is just better, and a lot of that was just is just from not being on such a strict diet from prep.
Yeah.
My energy basically is just slowly getting back to where it was before prep, and that's kind of how the rebound phase has been with a lot of stuff. It's kind of just slowly returning to a baseline is how I would describe it.
Okay. And we've done some different things that most people do normally during their rebound. And one of the things I asked you, do you feel more or less in control around food now, and why?
I think I feel actually more control around food now. It's because the past couple months I've seen firsthand that when you follow a plan and you stick to the diet and you're just following what you're supposed to do, the results follow. So a lot of that has helped me have more control around my food because I'm seeing the results of me, having control over my food. So that's helped a lot.
Okay. And how has your physique changed as your body weight increased?
The main thing I would say changed is just overall fullness. Hear me?
Yeah, you said overall fullness.
I think you cut off for a second. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you, but we can't see you. But you can keep talking.
All
Hello?
right. So you can hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. All right. Yeah, so I think the main thing that I've seen change physique wise has just been the fullness. Because coming out of a depleted state, deal with a lot of flatness following the prep, following the show. But
Yeah.
I've just seen a big jump in fullness and overall size, and like just density. Um, just a more rounded, well-rounded overall look. I've noticed physique wise during this rebound
Okay.
phase.
So our next question is, and we're getting close. We have this question and one more after that. It's what did me as a coach, Coach Marion, do that help you stay calm and follow the process?
Um, you kind of the thing that's helped me with as having you as my coach is you have a level head. Every time I've might have been worrying about something, or if I wasn't too sure about it, or I was getting in my head with the scale, you always were reassuring of what our plan was and what our goal was.
Yeah.
It was always helpful to have a coach like you that you know just saw the bigger picture and was able to help me stay a little bit more calm and not react to the scale noise, food noise, all that type of stuff. So definitely been a big help.
Okay. Our last question here, and what would you tell someone who believes gaining any weight means they failed? Like, people see the
Say that one
scale,
more
and
time.
what would you tell anyone? What would you tell someone who believes gaining any weight means they failed? And I guess what that means is like when you start
Um,
seeing yeah. And I guess what
Wait,
it
finish your
boils,
sentence. What'd you say?
yeah, I guess it would boil down to uh, we want to speak to the person who's scared to leave a diet. That's the thing.
You're scared
That
to leave the diet.
yeah, like when some people like we talked about earlier, and it's like, and we're trying to speak to everyone about this because it's not just bodybuilding; it's people on any type of planned diet. Like, what do I do afterwards? I know what the beginning does, but what do I do when it ends? And that segues us into why the Marion Trainer Rebound and Beyond, which is what we're calling. It's not just rebound; it's rebound and beyond.
Yeah. Um, I would say you kind of just have to accept the fact that you know, especially for bodybuilders, that the scale is after the diet it is going to go up. So part of it is just accepting that you will see the scale jump up. Um, And I would just tell them to not, worry so much about the day-to-day swings of the scale, because as me and you saw firsthand, those can be pretty drastic at times. You could
Yeah.
jump 1 to even 3, 4 pounds a day. And I would just stay the course, um, and don't fixate on the scale noise from day to day. Instead, look at it as a trend, a weekly, even monthly trend is how I would tell someone to look at weight instead of a day to day thing. That's definitely helped me, because if you look at the weight day to day, it's going to change a lot and it's going to mess with your head. So you kind of just got to stick to the course and look at it as more of a bigger picture than a day to day type of thing.
Okay, great. And there'll be a before and after picture of you posted, and talking about it to you now, showing people what the difference is at 200 pounds from last year and 200 pounds from this year. And now you got the good concept of it. And it's not just say, oh, pick something to eat, then we'll get to the point where, oh, we're ready to diet for another show. The next show we do plan to do, you'll be even better than you ever was, because you don't have to go into the struggle saying I got to drop 30 pounds just to show off what I've done.
Absolutely, yeah. That was the biggest thing I'm excited for, is probably that for my next time competing is, having more control just from the start. Because from the start of the first prep I did, um, yeah, I was definitely, I had to drop, 30 pounds that I shouldn't have had to drop, because a lot of that weight that I dropped, that 30 pounds that I dropped, was just unnecessary weight that I was carrying. And I think next time we do a prep, we'll have a lot better start, because I won't have to drop that unnecessary, body fat that I was carrying around from the off season. So
Exactly. Well, Ben, I want to thank you for your time. We work very close together with each other, and I'm appreciative of your staying with the program and having the mindset to see the vision that I have for you and that we have for this program that we're doing.
sure, absolutely.
So, other thing is, how can people find you and follow you on social media?
Um, They could find me. The main platform I post on is TikTok. I go by B_jacked. You can find me. I post. That's mostly where I post. Or you could find me on Instagram. Same tag, B_jacked. But yeah, that's where y'all could find me on social media. So yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time. You know how we do. We'll be in touch. And thank everybody for being involved. This will be uploaded also so people can see it. But appreciate your time, Bennett, and we'll talk later.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach.
All right. Bye. And remember, don't wait for motivation to reset your standards.